Is Manuel Ugarte actually going to be a good signing for Manchester United? If Liverpool bought him, he'd be a bad signing. And if Man City buy him, it's a disaster. But with Man United, does it weirdly suit their new style? We're going to give you the truth. So after several links, Ugarte is now a Manchester United player, and is it this aspect of his game that made him a top priority for Man United? So before we look into his best attributes and what positive impact he'll have, and he will, it's important to look at why PSG don't want him after only one season at the club and after paying 50 million quid for him last summer. So this is the clip from a game against Toulouse recently, and Ugarte is right here, being incredibly tenacious, as he always is. He does have that about him. Because PSG are looking to squeeze the play, it's understandable what he's doing here. You can see the whole team here looking to kind of stay high on the midfielders. And as the ball makes its way here, you can see that he's in an okay position. Look, he can get back if he needs to, if that cut works. But if there's a tackle made or if a pass is made here as well, he's fine. And again, if there's a runner with him, he can just follow him as well. That's not the problem. The problem, as I said, is the decision making. Because as we play it on, he makes the wrong decision. There's a good challenge there. And then here, diving in. He dives in. And that's fine if you win the ball. And that tenacity is something that I think is going to be the big thing when it comes to Ugarte at Manchester United, because I think people will love it. But they will also get frustrated at it at times, because if you make the wrong decision at the wrong time, what happens is you leave your team exposed. But what's crucial here is also that this was the PSG lineup for the game. Ugarte was playing as a single pivot, meaning that it's his responsibility to protect the back four, especially when you have Carlos Soler and Asensio playing as the eights. This becomes even more important, as we know very well, they are incredibly attacking minded. So that mental load of the defensive accountability is on Ugarte's shoulders. So in this clip, it's super disappointing, because when you have that context, he needs to be that little bit more careful to protect the centre-backs. And he's not. He makes the decision to dive in. Once you've gone off your feet, you are finished. If the ball is chipped over you, that's exactly what happens. That means that the left-back now has to make his way towards him. That leaves a load of space out here, and they are all at sea. All of that protection that you would normally have as that six in this position here is gone. That whole triangle is gone, and you have players that are going to get sucked out of position. It's a ripple effect, if you will, that a good team that is looking to get at the opposition and press high can't afford to deal with. Now, Ugarte is a player who racks up a lot of tackles per 90, but unfortunately this does come at a price. Tackles per 90 in Ligue 1 last season, 3.9. That is a hell of a lot, and that's a great strength. But as I say, it comes at a cost, because this problem came in a single pivot once again. This is why it may not be as prevalent in a Man United side as it would to a Liverpool or a Man City. And what you have to remember is that PSG often played with two very attacking eights, which meant that Ugarte was often punished if he went hunting for the ball, and he loves to hunt for the ball. But what we know about Manchester United is that they will almost always play with a double pivot, be that with Casemiro, but ideally you would imagine with Kobbie Mainoo. And so it will take a bit of time, but I think with Kobbie Mainoo, you've got a player that does like to drop deep and help out. And so if he sees Ugarte going to hunt at times and going to commit, as long as they dovetail each other at the right times, it's one where Mainoo can come in and help the team out a little bit. And it's a bit of a rule that I would always say in the Sunday League. I would say to my midfield partner, I would go, if you see me in front of you, that means you've got to sit. And that will be the nuance here when it comes to Ugarte, because you don't want to lose those 3.9 tackles per 90. And Mainoo is that little bit more composed, a little bit more laissez-faire in terms of his tenacity at getting at the opposition. So that's where these two, as a partnership, could work really well. But the biggest problem for Ugarte, it's the next one that we're going to talk about, in my opinion. And it's going to be interesting to see if Ten Hag can help Ugarte overcome this problem or not. So this is a clip from a Uruguay match against Colombia last season, but there were quite a few examples of this problem from his PSG clips last season as well. So the Uruguay right back, Nandez, has the ball here, and they're trying to play out from the back. That's something that Man United will likely do this season as well. And Ugarte's positioning is fine. He's okay. He's there. He's cool. And he will likely be able to get the ball between himself and a Colombian midfielder who's going to press him if the ball makes its way to him. But as we play it on, what we'll see is that if we're very careful, he has one scan there, you can see it. And as we play it along, you can see that there are 3 players over on that left-hand side. You've got the centre-back just to the right of the zoomed circle here as well. And if we watch him, you can see that the layoff is there. He's had a look. He's seen an option. And again, if he gets on the ball now, and there, you saw he just had the slightest look once again. Let's play it on. Because I think, look, if you've got these players pressing, and you can see that they obviously are pressing because of all these Colombian midfielders here, he needs to be clever with what he does, and he needs to know what his options are as well. And so as we see it in this moment, it's very clear. And he's had that little look as well. So the obvious pass for him is to lay it off as a little bounce pass. You can get rid and play through that way. Or maybe he turns out, takes one touch and is able to play through the press that way. Or maybe he even drives with the ball here as well. But the obvious pass is just to play it to your defender who's there waiting for the ball. But as we play it on, even having that little scan, he plays that pass. That is concerning to me in terms of the high tempo. And of course, this is just one incident, but we're going to show you some others as well. That ability to be press proof is a concern. Because he has had that look, but he's not taking in that information. And will that cost Man United at some point during his career? That ability to see when the passing lanes are being shut off and knowing which passes are risk-free or when to take a touch, when to hold on to the ball. It's that press-proof ability, if that's even bloody a word, that he needs to be a lot better at. And the end result is that Luis Diaz gets the ball in an incredibly dangerous position, and all of a sudden Uruguay are in a massive load of trouble. Here's another example that actually highlights the theme in his problems. The ball comes to him quickly, and he needs to play the ball first time. What does he do? Here he needs to be able to play that pass, and wherever that may be. And again, he needs to be able to see the picture quickly. And the pass here, and I'm not saying it's easy, but it is elite football, is to Mbappe, who's an option there. Or does he protect the ball and drive? Here, again, this is very easy for me to see from this angle, but this is elite sport. And what does he do? He panics. He gives the ball away, and they nearly score. I'm not trying to get at Ugarte, he's got so many strengths, but making these type of quick decisions under pressure is something that became a problematic theme when we were looking at recent footage of him. So that has to be something that's in Ten Hag's mind when he's bringing him into the team and then looking to take this Man United side to the next level, which is the whole point of signing a midfielder, right? And here's one more example of it. And again, I think it's just important that we're trying to make content that you can trust. And this is one element of him. It's not every element, and we'll talk about the good stuff in just a second. But as we play it here, you can see that, again, in his own third, with a bit of pressure on him, he does have that look. He understands it. He takes it. He knows where to go with it. But it's about trusting himself, and it's about being technically sound. And here, he has that little look. He can play the pass here, but he's got to punch it. He's got to get it right. He could loft it and get it over to Hakimi, but he's maybe a little bit concerned here. But he's got to be smarter with how he does it and a bit more certain to have the pass appreciation. And that's it sometimes. It's kind of making the decision and having the pass appreciation at the right times. And if we play this on, we can see it's then just a poor technical moment from him, and it can leave him and his team a little bit all at sea. And with the pace and the pressing of the Premier League, that's 3 Ps, it's called alliteration. There could be some possibilities of pressure paying off for the opposition. And I wonder if Ugarte could be that trigger. But I thought you said they should sign him. Yes, we did say that on this channel. Because there are a lot of great elements from him as well. And so if he can have that bit of development from Ten Hag and the team around him, there's a lot to like about Ugarte. So twisted, let's not get it. Because Ugarte definitely has his strengths, and these could definitely allow him to contribute towards Man United's style of play in a very specific way. And this sequence shows it off perfectly. Because one aspect of Ugarte that I really like is that he's very, very hard hitting in the tackle, and he throws his weight about superbly. I really like it. And this is a great example here where he gets at him and goes, bosh! Now, is that a foul? Maybe it is a foul. But the point is that he's got the tenacity to go to places that maybe Casemiro doesn't. The second part of it, which I think is the attacking side of him on the ball where he is really good, is he's direct, he's positive, and he can see out a pass. In particular, his long-range passing is absolutely fantastic at times. And so he gets on the ball here, and he's just not careful with what he's doing. He wants to go and impact the game, and he does exactly that with a long-range, pinpoint, beautiful pass to Mbappe. And they're on their way. And that is going to work incredibly well for this Man United side that wants to be great in transition, that has players with pace. Yeah, do we like him now? We like him a little bit more. His long-range passing is absolutely superb, and it will be such a weapon for Man United. This is a great example where the Matheus Viña, who's the left back here, you can see, let me just point him out for you. There he is, hiding away. He's ready to go because he knows that Ugarte's favourite pass is about to be played, and this allows Viña to receive it in an advanced position, meaning that the right back, Alistair Johnston here, needs to close the space. But that then creates more space in behind, which again is something that Man United would be able to do really, really well. And if they know this is all happening, and let's say that this player here is Kobbie Mainoo, he could be that little bit higher up. There could be a little pass here. You could have Bruno Fernandes being ready to go, or Xerxes, and then you've got Rashford going, or Garnacho. It's going to be great fun. And when he's unpressured, he can play these cracking passes and switch the play quickly. But Ugarte's long-range passing is also going to be really useful in the final third because he's very adept at those specific passes. And that switch, this switch here that we found a clip of, is something that you'll see pretty often. But I think especially when you're thinking about Man United and how they're going to play, this little moment where he sort of drops deep, gets his head up and plays that switcheroonie bosh. That is something that will allow Masraoui to be a bit higher up, and it will therefore stretch the play and give Man United another way of getting in behind teams, which has been at times a bit of a problem when it comes to a low block. Because another thing when we think about Manchester United over the last couple of years is, yes, Shaw can bomb on, yes, Rashford, yes, Fernandes, yes, this left side. But this right-hand side has not really been able to offer too much over the last few years. But in Masraoui and that ability to play those passes across, you've got a player that can then stretch the play, and then you've got a new way, a new avenue. And we saw that in that opening game of the season against Fulham. Ten Hag wants his team to be able to attack on both wings equally. And that's something I think that Ugarte will be able to do effectively. But this one aspect of his game is something that a lot of people, I think, forget about. And what I really like in this section here is that in this game against Monaco, he's able to drop the shoulder from the onrushing midfielder, despite that little bit of pressure. And I think it's one of those, once he's got the ball and he's got his head up, what he does is superb. Because what you see next is that he releases the ball quickly after beating this player and plays it into that little channel. He does have that attacking vision to play those passes. He ticks a lot of boxes going forward. It's more so when he's got his back to goal or when he's rushed in that build-up phase. That's my only concern when it comes to Ugarte, which is just one aspect that I know we've focused on, but it's because so many people will focus on all the brilliant things that he does. And I get that, and that's fine. It's good to be positive, but it's also important to give you that 360 view. And that other aspect in the final third, it allows Man United to be penetrative and break down low blocks, as we spoke about earlier, which, again, it's two sides of it. You want to be quick in transition, but once you've got the ball higher up the pitch, you want that element of control, but that ability to go from slow to quick and be direct, see the pass and play the pass, because there's been so much pressure on Bruno Fernandes. And in Ugarte, you've got someone who is a very, very interesting player. Now, I think the thing I want to say here is that how much credit will he have in the bank by the time he makes a mistake? He will make a mistake. Players make mistakes. And that one moment is something where I can imagine with Twitter and the world that we live in, there's going to be so much noise and he could get hammered for it. The point is that does he do all these great things and he makes one mistake and people let that go? Or does he make one mistake at the start and that could affect the other elements of his play? I think what I do like, and I used that word a few times, but the tenacity, both in the tackle and the positivity with the ball, I think will overall make him a bit of a fan's favourite. And with Kobbie Mainoo by his side, and Bruno Fernandes that little bit higher up, and a system that works for him. That's why I believe that Ugarte could be a huge success in this Man United team, even if he's a player that wouldn't have worked at one of his rivals.